Welcome back to Moscow, where we've been describing the considerable anger from the Kremlin about that strike on those Syrian chemical positions. I want to talk now about what actually happened overnight. Joining me from Damascus is Danny Makki, a Syrian journalist based there in the west of the city. And we talked this morning, didn't we, Danny? And just remind us how extensive, from your point of view, this strike was.
Well, it was very extensive, as has been reported. At around 4:30 in the evening here in Damascus, in the early hours, I should rather say, a number of consecutive bangs and strikes awoke me and awoke most of the residents of this city in what was a very surprising and a very shocking initial 5 minutes of the US aggression. So what happened was you could hear the cruise missiles and the jets in the air attacking and literally waking everyone up. So Syrian air defenses then proceeded to respond to these rocket attacks. You had the launch of S-200 air defense missile systems from the Syrians, Shelka tracer fire, which was also fired into the sky at these rockets coming in, and also Pantsir air defense systems. So what you had was, for the duration of 1 hour, you had this battle which occurred in Damascus, which awoke most of the residents and surprised mainly most of the inhabitants and even the army in Damascus. What we'd previously seen is a de-escalation of the conflict for about 48 hours, with different political maneuvering from Washington and Moscow, and it looked like the Russian diplomacy with the US was going to de-escalate the situation. But we were all wrong, because the US attacked in full force at 4:30 in the morning, and literally the neighborhood which I was in was shaking to the ground. I mean, you can imagine in the pitch black dark of the Damascus skyline, literally it's so dark, so sound travels very quickly. A number of different Tomahawk missiles attacked areas near to my neighborhood. It was very traumatic in the first minutes, in the first probably 5 minutes of the assault, where no one really understood what was happening. And this has been translated all across Damascus, where you've had 3 different military sites targeted by US attacks. Now, on the Syrian side, we've heard reports and statements that up to 13 rockets were initially downed by Syrian air defenses. That number has risen then to 70, although it is exaggerated. It's consistent with reporting at the moment, which I heard as well, of air defense systems firing rockets into the sky. Now, what we've also seen is reports of facilities attacked in Homs and in Hama, in the research facility in Masyaf, in southern Hama. So it's been a wide-scale attack, but it hasn't been symbolic. It's been limited. It's been limited to a number of different sites. And after the first hour in Damascus, life began to re-seep through into the city. People went back to their jobs, and there were pro-government protests in the center of the city, Damascus, in Al-Umayyin Square, where you had about 10,000 people gathered to rally in favor of their president Assad and against US aggression. We also saw the Syrian presidency upload a video of President Assad walking into his office at 9 o'clock as per usual, as if nothing happened and it was all normal. But what I can tell you is that between the hours of 4:30 and 5:30 yesterday evening, the situation was everything but normal. It was calamitous, and even on a personal level, my family and myself being present here, there was lots of fear over what could happen and how close these missiles were actually landing. And the fact that, as a British citizen as well, the fact that it was UK jets and missiles participating as well made you also fear the worst, So it was ultimately very bittersweet for me being here at that moment.
Okay, Danny, thanks for describing it all to us there. Danny Makki there live in Damascus, and you're watching Sky News. Coming up, those questions in the UK about the legality of the action. We'll be hearing from the Foreign Office Minister, Alistair Burt.